Hey everyone, let's go streaky. No, wait a minute. Let's enjoy a winning streak. That's more better. That's way better. I am so excited about this 3-game winning streak, and I'm excited because I have a special guest tonight. We're going to be talking about this game, about this Canucks team, and there's so much to talk about. Like normal, thanks so much for showing up. I'm going to hit the intro, and we're going to get right into it. Let's go, Canucks. 3-game winning streak, baby. Hey everyone, welcome to Kempner Canucks. My name is RevTrev, and I'm so excited. I got my friend Laura here from the better half of Hockey Talk on the Rock, all the way from Italy. Let's go. Welcome to the channel. How are you doing?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
No problem. Keith, you think Keith's going to be mad about that better part of the, he'll probably agree.
Bit.
He's going to agree. He's going to agree. Keith couldn't make it tonight because he's got floor hockey, and apparently that's his NHL, but whatever. You missed it, Keith. You missed a great game. 3-game winning streak. The Vancouver Canucks win 3-1 over the Nashville Predators. We're on a 3-game winning streak. Things are great in Vancouver. We're going to win the Stanley Cup. We're going all the way. You know, it's not overreaction theater at all. But I wanted to ask you, did you ever think we'd get to this stage of the year and be so excited that we beat Nashville?
No. I mean, again, I had a bit of doubt at the beginning of the season, just about a bit of a letdown from last year, but not to this degree.
Right.
But I mean, again, they've won 3 in a row. Things are looking up for the time being, and it was a pretty good game overall. I thought that Nashville for the second half was the better team, but Demko kept them in the game, and they did what they had to do to get a win. The big test, obviously, coming up now is Dallas on Friday. So let's see how they play against a playoff caliber team.
Yeah, no, and that is Friday. I'm trying not to think about Friday yet, but you're right. You're right, because I'm just trying to enjoy the win. They've come so rarely this season. There's not been the back-to-backs. There hasn't been the 3-game winning streak. So, but I'm with you. Friday night is a monster night. Pumped about it. Man, it's gonna be get your popcorn ready. Let's see what the Canucks can do. And the other thing I wanted to talk to you about is how in the world are we actually winning games with all the drama that's faced this team? Like to overcome that has been, to me, the most incredible part of these wins, because most teams would collapse, right? And so why don't you speak to that? Like, are you as amazed as I am, or is this like, oh, Trev, they're professionals and, it is what it is?
I mean, I am amazed. I would say in some ways they have collapsed a bit. Not tonight, obviously, and maybe after the whole Jim Rutherford comments that dropped yesterday, that is super impressive. But if you believe what he said, which is this isn't new to the team, they know what's happening, so it doesn't matter if he speaks publicly. I don't know if I agree with that, but he said it.
Right.
And I mean, you have the LA game, you have the Edmonton game. I can think of those two, which for me were very big low points of the season recently. I mean, there's been multiple low points of the season this year, but it does seem like they kind of have collapsed and then they've rebounded a bit. I mean, coming off the win against Washington, really, because To me, that was the most impressive one. I thought the St. Louis win was more a reflection that St. Louis is not a very good hockey team and they didn't play very well. But
look at
yeah.
the disdain, the hate coming out here, like the disrespect to the St. Louis Blues. Wow, weren't they ahead of us in the standings, sister?
No, they were right below.
Oh,
But
right.
I mean,
So
they
much
didn't look
below
very good.
us too, right? Like the
Yeah.
peasants and we're kings. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, now we're in a playoff spot, so that's the other funny thing about all of this to me is that, since November, but really December and January were terrible months for the Canucks. And somehow they're in a playoff spot today. I don't know. you know. So things could be worse. They didn't completely play themselves out of it. Maybe they can get back into this, but I don't know. I'm not a full believer yet.
Yeah, when we hit that low this month, I put a post out, will the Vancouver Canucks win again in January?
Yeah, exactly.
And I was saying like how many games you're going to win? Like 1 to 3, no, 1 to 2 or something, 0 to 2. I picked that. Like I thought there's a good chance we don't win again till the end of January. This schedule looked too crazy. And I know, like, people are saying, what, you should be expecting to win against Nashville. Yes. And they just beat us twice. They literally have already won the season series before tonight's game started. It's like they want revenge on us from last year, and they don't realize it's a new season. You know?
Yeah, for sure.
So
They've had their number this year.
This was people are gonna be like, you Canuck fans, you make such a big deal. It's like, it's been bad. It's been bad. And not only has it been bad, this is our first 3-game winning streak? I don't even know. All I know is we weren't in the playoffs. Now we are. And that's big news.
Yeah. It feels almost like a miracle right now. Again, after the week that they've had with news, that they're in a playoff spot is kind of hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, the big question I want the chat to answer tonight, and so post it in the comments. We're going to get to your comments in a little bit, but I do want you to ask, how long will this winning streak last, people? I know most of you are like, it's over. We're losing to Dallas. You got recency bias and all that stuff. But I'm just going to say, let's just keep the winning going. But you post honestly whatever you want. But I wanted to talk to you, Laura, about a couple things about this game, but most importantly about this season. When I go to the polls in Canada, when the political polls come out, I'm going to vote Quinn Hughes for Prime Minister.
Sure.
You book it right now. If he's on the ballot, I'm voting for him. He's the best hockey player on the planet. Okay, maybe not. Well, he's pretty good. He's pretty good. He should be in the running for the Hart, in all honesty, at this stage, with all this riffs, with all these injuries, and playing at the high level that he is. I am impressed. Why don't you just let's just take a moment to do an appreciation conversation about Quinn Hughes. What is it that you love about Quinn?
I mean, just like literally everything.
I knew you were going to say that.
He is the Canucks team, and as you said, he should be in the running for the Hart. If you look at the definition of the Hart, like, he is the winner. I know they put out a poll or something about the top candidates for the Hart this week, maybe yesterday, and like both Draisaitl and McDavid were on it, and I feel like you shouldn't have two teammates on that list by definition. But again, if they make the playoffs, I think he has to be the winner. His vision on the ice, that pass he made last game,
insane,
against St. Louis was insane. Like, I don't know how you try that, how you do that on purpose. It's insane. The way he moves the puck. The Canucks have never really had, I mean, they've never had a defenseman of his caliber, but just with the vision on the ice of what he can do, it's so crazy. And then you combine it with the fact that he's good defensively. And I mean, for a lot of this season, if you think about the overtime games, if Quinn Hughes isn't playing the full 5 minutes, they're not winning. Like, they don't have anyone else they can put out there. I mean, Hronek he's a good defenseman, he's a good puck mover. But beyond that, they just don't have players that can move the puck. And yeah.
Yeah, and for me, I keep saying like he's just a magician on skates. Like the things that he can do, the edge work, the speed, the slowdown, the speed. You know what I mean? It's like a hesitation. It's a spin move. It's like a crossover in basketball. He's breaking people's ankles. He's scoring ridiculous goals. Everyone wants okay. So what was the goal he scored? It was 2 games ago. So he comes across the middle, splits it in, does the backhander. But the next one, nobody talks about how he scored that puck. Was like there was like this much on the top corner, and he nailed it in traffic. And I'm just like, this guy is unbelievable, and I love having him on a team. Now, you know me, you and I have had these conversations. Yeah. I didn't want us to draft Quinn Hughes. I didn't think he was going to last. I didn't think he was going to be durable.
Sure.
I thought Bouchard was going to be the better hockey player, and sure. I think Bouchard's a very good hockey player. I wanted the big booming shot, a guy who could hit. But when Jim Benning drafted this guy, I've never seen Jim Benning so happy in my life. That smile was like bigger than my smile. You know what I mean? And so we hit the lottery. With this kid. I know Oilers fans were so mad when Quinn Hughes went. They wanted Quinn over Bouchard, and so it's really interesting. It's been fun to watch, and shockingly how bad we've been and how good he's been.
Yeah. And I mean, he's basically almost doubled the Canucks in points right now. Like he has, I think, 58 points or something now, and the next highest is mid-30s. So
wild.
He's the team, and I mean he's a defenseman. It's just insane how he's involved in everything on the ice in a positive way.
And all the like comparisons like with the Paul Coffey, and it's like that's a special list, you know, like when you get up there with Paul, he's pretty amazing. So anyways, okay. I guess we should start talking about the game because I mean, Quinn was awesome again tonight, so that's part of the game. But I just wanted to kind of throw that out there. That was a lob ball, and you just knocked it out of the park, so I appreciate that. Okay, let's talk about the thoughts on third center, Elias Pettersson, and his line. Tell me what you saw tonight on this line, and what was your thoughts on it?
I mean, for me, they were the most noticeable line in the game. I thought they all had a very strong game. I thought Pettersson looked the best he's looked in a long time, in all honesty. He was holding on to pucks. He was creating plays. He looked really good. I'm really happy, obviously, for both the wingers. Like, for Höglander to get that goal, it was great. And then also for Karlsson to get his first. I thought that was very, very fitting that line factored into the 2 goals of the game. I know that Suter got the empty netter there at the end. But to me, I mean, they had the most offensive chances. Also in the third, they were the ones that kind of picked it back up because there was a big lull between shots, as usual with the Canucks right now. But yeah, I thought they looked good. I would keep them together for now and see how it goes, because at first I was a bit anti having Pettersson back with the 2 kind of lower level wingers, but it seems to be working right now. So let's keep it together and see how it goes.
Yeah, absolutely. And this again, I don't know what the numbers were. I'm going to look real quick here. Box score, Canucks. How many minutes did he have? 1842. Okay, so 21 shifts, so much better, more ice time, almost 5 minutes more. Actually, it was 5 minutes more than last game. That's exciting to see because that's what you want in Elias Pettersson. So that's pretty cool. So I am shocked at who he's playing with. But it's like nice to get Höglander going, right? That goal by Höglander was nice. And that's one of the reasons why the Canucks have struggled. I know that people are going to say, Trev, what are you talking about here? But think about it. He had 20 goals or plus 20 goals last year. You have a bottom 6 player scoring that many goals, not on the power play, 5-on-5. That just helps games, right? That just helps games. So you expect the Heinens, the the Hoaglanders, those guys to chip in, but you're not expecting it every night. And it was nice to see him score tonight. Any thoughts about good old Niels?
Yeah, I mean, again, he had 20-something goals last year, right? So he can score in this league, and like if he can get back to contributing on that sort of pace, it's a big addition to this team. I know that we've all kind of already given into the idea that he's going to get traded, and I think probably he will. But if he's contributing to this team in this bottom six role, I mean, bottom six, top six, I don't know what you call it with Pettersson when you have him there.
Right.
But if he can contribute 20 goals, it's great, or around that pace. I thought again tonight was one of his better games. I know he made a mistake on the too many men penalty, or it was partially on him, but overall I thought he had energy. He looked good. He was hustling on the forecheck. He was digging out pucks. Him and Pettersson together, it was noticeable that they had some chemistry. Yeah, I thought he looked a lot better. It was one of his stronger games of the season.
Yeah, and I know that he had a whole bunch of goals last year, but he's only got 4 this year.
Yep.
Even if he gets, like, say, up to 12, that's going to help us out a lot.
Sure.
Down the stretch here. We need that kind of production. But it's nice that he's playing with a little bit of talent. Now, last year, Hoaglander played a lot with Pettersson and Mikheyev, so there was a little bit of chemistry formed there. Yeah, I like the brusque personally with Pettersson, but
Yeah.
I mean, if Hoaglander's going, just keep them together. They're small. That's the only thing I don't know. I kind of like if they would put a guy like Sherwood on the other side or something
Sure.
like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Get a little grit. I mean, let's not joke around. Like, other than JT Miller, your toughest guys, hardest working guys are Garland and Hoaglander, and that's just a fact, right? So
Sure.
those guys are absolutely insane. Love their compete level, their stuff. So
Sure.
okay.
And I mean, I don't think that Carlson's going to really be a long-term fit with Pettersson, right? I would assume that if he's still on the team, they're going to play a different winger with him long-term.
Yes.
But right now it was working. We'll see how it goes. Again, I thought for Carlson, not only the fact that he scored, but it was one of his most noticeable games. He had some good plays throughout too. So
Absolutely. Okay, let's talk about the Canucks' favorite player that everyone likes to talk about, Tyler Myers. What's up with Tyler Myers? Did the suspension give him a wake-up call he needed to play smarter hockey? What is going on with Tyler? Chaos Giraffe.
I mean, again, like the St. Louis game, he was really strong. He was really noticeable in a positive way. Today, exactly the same thing. He made several plays that were really good, both offensively and defensively. If he can play like this, it's great. And I know that Hughes said after like getting him back last game, it was a big boost to their team. And as Canucks fans, we're kind of laughing about it because sometimes Myers doesn't feel like a good boost to the team. It feels like the opposite, right? But no, he's been really good, and maybe he keeps it up. Last season he was great too, right? And we all wanted him to sign another contract. So if he can play like this, it's great. Maybe he needed a couple games to sit and watch from above, right?
Yeah. And I've always said when it comes to Tyler Myers, especially last few seasons, if you keep him in this certain amount of time and you don't try to get him to play like Hronek minutes and Hronek situations, he's actually quite good in his strengths. It's
Sure.
the overtime stuff. It's the wheeling and dealing. Like, sometimes he's got pretty good speed, actually. The other thing, too, is I don't really like it when he takes the big slap shot. It's better when he has more of the wrist shot because he's got a lot of, what is it called? Sling or flex in his shot. And I'm thinking he can get that going there. It looks bad, but I mean, a lot of times he shoots right in the middle of the crest. So that's tough. But if he can have a wrist shot and have a little bit more accuracy, I like that about him. It's kind of weird, though, to like not weird, but it's so rare that he plays at such a high level for a whole game that it's like, wow, he's actually pretty good tonight, you know?
Yeah. Again, I thought, in all honesty, he was probably, outside of Demko, their best player tonight. Which is...
Yeah. Anyways, I don't know if I'm with you on that one, but still, I appreciate you don't have the same opinion in me, but that's totally cool. Okay, let's talk about this. I know you wanted to bring this up, but what's with the Canucks issues with the lack of generating shots? What is wrong with the Canucks that way?
Yeah, again, another interesting topic. I don't know. I don't know if it's the Rick Tocchet system. We go back to the playoffs last year, it was the same story. The beginning of this year, it seemed maybe things were a bit better, and then really for the last 2 or 3 months, this has been the story. They can't generate shots. Tonight, they were lucky. The first period, they came out, they got shots on net, they got a goal, and then they scored on their first or second shot in the second period. I can't remember now. And that was all they needed, right? But they didn't generate for the second half of the game. I mean, the last 40 minutes of the game, they didn't generate shots. And it's not really a way that you can win.
Yeah. Look at these shot totals. 13, 3, 6.
Yeah.
This just in, not good. But
I
again,
mean,
what about quality over quantity?
Quality over quantity, sure, to a degree, but I think you can look at the Canucks stats in terms of like how many goals they've scored over the past month and all the top 6 forwards. I can't remember what it is now, but they're not scoring. So maybe it's better to put some more pucks on net, you know, the whole you miss 100% of the shots you don't take, Gretzky quote. I don't know. Yeah, okay, there's something to making stupid shots and giving the puck away and all that, but they need to figure out a way to get more pucks on net.
Absolutely. And we're missing Sherwood. You see that we got out hit again. That's just not normal for us. But there's a reason why Nashville's called Smashville. So I do appreciate that about them. I don't want to like not give them any credit. They're a pretty solid team, especially defensively. But they have had just a horrific year, and I'm so glad we finally got the monkey off the back and beat them. Okay, you brought up Tocchet. This is the last question I want before we get into the big conversation with everyone. And there are 145 people in here right now. So thankful for everyone. Hit the like and subscribe, everyone. And we're going to get into your comments in just a second, but this is the big one. I feel like Canuck fans want to be divided, like it's politically divided. The lines are drawn when it comes to Miller and Pettersson. What's wrong with the Canucks? There's so many things, but this one is big. What are your thoughts about Coach Rick Tocchet? Do you trust the process or do you fire him already? Because there's a lot of people that want to fire Rick Tocchet. What are your thoughts on that?
Okay, so I'm somewhat divided in myself on Rick Tocchet because last year, you know, obviously he won Coach of the Year. To be honest with you, I was never that sold on him. I thought they had a lot of things go their way, and they had obviously a very good season. This year, I feel almost the opposite in the sense that I think that there's too many problems around this team that's a roster problem and not a coaching problem that you can't really blame Tocchet.
Okay.
I think sure there's some system stuff, there's some lineup stuff that is odd, and if it continues then yeah, sure. But this core has had 3 coaches, and it always seems to come back to being the same problems. And who are you really gonna get to replace him? I know, like, we had Boudreau, and then we replaced him with the anti-Boudreau, who's Tocchet. What are you gonna do? You have the 2 extremes, you find someone in between the 2, but I don't know. For me, firing him, it's an easy solution, but I don't think it fixes anything long term.
Yeah. And here's the other thing too. The amount, okay, we've already talked about the drama. That's huge. That alone is tough to coach through. Okay.
Yeah.
But I think the significant injuries to the Stars, and we're still in a playoff spot. And I get it. I understand, like, people are upset at Tocchet for like not calling timeouts or,
Sure.
some of it, like you said, the lineup changes, but some of it also has been really unfair.
Fair.
It's just that they walk through the most craziest injuries to stars than anyone else in the NHL. And I know everyone wants to say Colorado, but it hasn't been Makar and McKinnon and Rantanen. It's been all the other guys, and I get it. But I'm just sitting there going, how do you be the best coach in the NHL and then lose your job the next season? That just doesn't make sense to me. Like, you? So I don't think it's wrong to flip-flop on, the rift, the drama, to keep Pettersson, keep Miller. It's fine if you change your mind. It's even with Tocchet. I felt like I've kind of just stayed steady with the Tocchet thing where I'm like, I just don't see that he's an awful coach. You don't just win Coach of the Year and then it's like you're terrible. It can't be.
And
right?
again, I just don't think there's anyone they could replace him with that would get any more out of this group long term.
Right.
Maybe you get a bump, as we've seen in the past.
But maybe that's the good point, is that maybe you bring someone else in and it's worse because they can't handle all the drama and stuff. It looks like Rick Tocchet's not having fun.
No.
Now, losing doesn't help anytime, ever. But I still love his interviews. I'm so sick of watching boring Travis Green interviews, Willie Desjardins.
Sure.
Like these guys, I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't watch it. I can't watch it. I mean, smart guys know what they're talking about. Just the charisma's not there. At least with Tocchet, I'm like, okay, I can listen to this guy. And I feel like he's not just blowing smoke. He's intelligent. I do think he's kind of repeating himself lately because it's just like, I don't know, like, what do you say after you lose 5-1, 6-0, 5-2?
Sure. I mean, the only thing I'll say about Tocchet too, right, is like he has the option this summer too to not come back. So it's possible that he decides he doesn't want to coach the Canucks next year. And I think we have to respect that if that's what he decides, right?
That would shock me.
But
because at the end of the day, it's also about money.
Sure.
Money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So he and being in a Canadian market, that's not easy to. A lot of coaches would love to be there too. I don't know. Anyways, I think you and I could talk all night about Rick Tocchet. I want to get into everyone else's comments because they're gonna have a lot of great stuff for you tonight.
Sure.
And we can dive in them together. But I just want to hit the promo video. It's just 20 seconds. I appreciate everyone being here. 152 people in here. If you haven't hit the like and subscribe, please do. Let me hit the promo and we'll get into your questions. All right, we have like 100 and something questions. This is wild. This is great. Roberto's excited about the all Swede line. Hogs, Petey, Carlson, let's go. We're very glad that we won tonight. It was awesome. But I'm going to ask the chat, guys, girls, post questions for us about this team. Anything you want to know. I'm telling you, my guest here, she has more knowledge about the NHL than I could even. It's even in my pinky finger. Her and Keith do incredible content. They know the whole league. And so, not that I'm putting any pressure on you, my friend, but I'm just saying I already know that you can handle any question, and I like your honesty. But I want to give a big shout out to Nothing is Perfect. Russell, thank you for being here. Hey, RevTrev, did you see Petey's ice time and Miller's ice time tonight? I know. I'm shocked. I'm absolutely shocked. I don't get this thing with Tocchet, but I'm okay with it because Miller had 16-21 and Pettersson had 18-42. But I think that's what you need to be getting out of both these guys. Pettersson's been like the 13-minute range. That's not good enough. So yeah, I'm gonna scroll down to the bottom now, and we're gonna say here, get some comments. Greens here says Canucks can match their longest winning streak of the season next game against Dallas with 4 in a row. That is so true, man. That is so true. And then He said that he likes working with Patrick and Jim too. So Tocchet is I mean, they're all good buddies, right? So that's important. And then what about this one? Tocchet will be going to the Leafs if he doesn't get re-signed. What's your thoughts on that?
I mean, I can't really see it because I think he would get another. Okay, I think either he'd go back to TNT, he would say, "Okay, I'm taking a step away from the coaching," or he would get a head coaching job. I don't see why he would go to be an assistant with Berube.
Absolutely. Then you have Shannon's in the building. She says, "I am sure that Tocchet will be asked to come back again with Canucks." This comment is just happy the guys are winning. I think we all can say that it's been bad on home ice, and that's even starting to look better. But here's one that you're gonna like. To be honest, I'm really happy the Canucks won, even though I'm an Oilers fan. In reality, it won't be the same without the Canucks. That is a great comment. I actually love it when other fans come in and share. I mean, as long as they're not jerks. But if they want a conversation, I'm happy to have one. But I appreciate this. Thank you, Robin, for being here. What do you think about without the Canucks, it won't be the same? So, like, must be the playoffs, eh?
Yeah, it must be the playoffs. And I mean, sure, it makes sense, right? You want to have rivalry teams. I mean, it's the same as a Canucks fan. It's better when you have those rivalry teams in the playoffs and you can play and hopefully win.
Right? Because that just helps. Like it helps ratings. It helps the interest. It helps like the fan bases go at each other. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot and just seeing them battle on the ice. That is something important. That's why I keep talking about I want to keep JT Miller, because McDavid was like Miller was the toughest guy last year to play in the playoffs. Not Sam Bennett, not like name whoever. Sure. It was JT Miller, and I'm just thinking if we lose JT Miller, McDavid's going to be the happiest guy on the planet. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't have to play him. But yeah, anyways, that's my little rant there, or the JT Miller thing. Okay, so Navarre says, man, it feels so good to be back on the wild card playoff spot. Won't lie, Demko did amazing out there. And a lot of people have been concerned about Demko's production this season. What do you think going forward we should do with Demko and Lankinen? Should we, you know what I mean? So what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, that's a tough one because I think all things considered, if Demko was 100% healthy and he had never had this knee injury, for sure he's the better goalie, right? And you go with him. The problem is we don't know really what Demko's going to be long term. All we know is that he's going to have to learn how to play with this injury, and it is what it is. He hasn't looked great. Today was, I think, probably his best game, I would say, in recent memory anyway. Lankinen is a good goalie. I don't know if Lankinen long term is a number one, but he's been a good goalie for the Canucks this year. I don't really know. I know it's a bit of a cop-out.
No, it's okay.
Say go with Demko, but it also depends what he wants. Because if he wants a long-term deal, you don't give it to him. You can't right now.
What the price range you'd want in the AV? For
Demko, I mean...
No, I'm talking about for Lankinen.
For Lankinen, I'd say between, basically around 4 and 5. But maybe that's too high. I don't know.
Well, because Demko gets 5 right now.
Yeah, I know. You have to think about the cap going up. He's been good. Like, he's been a good goalie for them. But you probably can't keep the combo if you're paying both of them, that money.
I know.
And now I know there's been talk, like, Demko trade rumors and all that stuff. But
Demko wants out.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, like he might, but why would he want out? Like he's making $5 million. They've been patient with his injuries. It doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah. I mean, again, the only thing I can think of is if he doesn't believe that he's gonna get a chance to win with this group.
Yeah.
Which is what it all comes down to.
Yeah. And then here's this comment. I wish all Canadians Canadian teams got into the playoffs every year. I don't know how you feel about that, but I agree, except for one team. And I do not want the Calgary Flames to win ever. They don't want to make the playoffs. I love it when they lose. And so I don't know. I don't know about you. What do you want all the Canadian teams to get in the playoffs every year?
I have a bit of a controversial opinion about other Canadian teams.
Okay.
In that basically I don't care about any of them. I'm a Canucks fan.
Let's go.
I don't get a big feeling of happiness when another Canadian team wins. But that being said, I mean, like Winnipeg and Ottawa, I'm okay with. The rest of them, I mean, Montreal to some degrees I'm okay with, but the rest of them I don't really care.
What you know what's weird about me is I'm not a Leafs hater.
Yeah.
And I feel like every Canucks fan I meet hates the Leafs, and I'm like, they're not even in our conference. I don't understand why they hate them, but I think it's the city thing. It's the it's like which city's the best city in Canada, and then it's also when they come to town, we play at 4:00, and everyone's mad about that.
I mean, I get mad about that too. But I'll say my thing with the Leafs specifically is just the media. I don't actually care that much about the team. It's just the media coverage that they get.
Yes.
And that's what drives me crazy about them.
But in fairness, the amount of viewership is insane. So I get it. It's like the CFL, and it's like the Saskatchewan Roughriders that literally is carrying the whole league. Now Toronto's not like that, but Toronto, like, I get that. I get the 4:00 start. Does it bother me? Yes, but I want them to play at 7:00, so it's actually now 11:00 for them. I want that. So there's got to be home ice advantage, people, but I get the ratings matter.
Sure.
Okay, so Jack says LA is only 2 points ahead of us. Avs are 4, but they have played 2 more games. I think like people have counted us out, and we've won a couple games in a row, 3, and all of a sudden here we are. I don't know. Are people sleeping on us here, or is the whole fan base just burning to the ground? Or I shouldn't use that. That's a riot joke. We shouldn't do any riot jokes.
I mean, I don't think that you can say that people are sleeping on us with the month that they've had. Like, it's impossible. I do think the LA thing is interesting. I wasn't aware of that until tonight's game. And then I thought, wow, that's crazy. And I mean, obviously Calgary's also right there with us right now. I mean, they're a point behind us, or 2 points. I can't remember now. But I don't know. There's something off with this group, and I just don't feel it.
Yeah.
I want to be wrong, but we'll see.
It's the inconsistency.
Yeah.
That's what's bothering you. That's my guess.
Okay.
That's what's bothering me to the core. Okay, David W., he's from Ontario, and he's always in here. I really do appreciate him. He says, over in the Eastern Conference, postseason play hasn't been the same among Canadian teams. Only the Leafs in the postseason. The 2021 one featured the Leafs and Habs, with it quite possible with the Habs and Sens having done quite well. 2 or even all 3 Eastern teams seeing playoff action for the first time since 2010.
Yeah,
that's wild. I know. See, this is what I'm talking about. Jack, you proved my point. People just don't like the Leafs here. I get it, but I think that's a good point, David. And it's good to have those teams in it. It's good to have Edmonton versus Vancouver in the playoffs. That just helps. What do you think about this, though? This comment right here from Cousin Vinny. Leafs versus Vancouver in the Stanley Cup final would be insane ratings.
It would. Yeah, I mean.
Do you think the States would watch that?
That's the problem. But I don't know. Probably no.
Do the States watch when their teams are in the final? Have they been watching? Like, have ratings been going through the roof for the Stanley Cup final?
I mean,
I don't know.
When there's big market teams like New York or Chicago or whatever, they do get really good ratings. I can say I was in Florida last year when the Canucks were playing Vancouver, and I was trying to find the game on TV, and they were playing women's basketball on the channel, and then they cut to the game, but they cut late. And I was thinking, again, I have no problem with women's basketball, but it's insane to me that that's the level where this game is below in the States, right?
Well, Caitlin Clark's helping that, but anyway.
Yeah, for sure. Again, I'm all
Was it
for
Caitlin
it.
Clark? Was it Caitlin? Was that the game? Because if
I
that's it,
don't
then I was like,
remember. I don't remember. I just remember thinking, "Where's the Canucks? It's gotta come."
Okay, they're in a good position if they can get Lanks and Demko both rolling. Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that. Roberto says, "Hey, Rev, which player would you consider to bring in Vancouver? Another center or a winger?" Well, I think that's a bit of a trap question, because it does mean who we're moving out first. Sure. And if we're talking about just free agencies, that's one thing, but I think this was being considered in a trade. I think if you move out a center, you have to bring in a center. But I don't think we need any more quote unquote center depth. I wouldn't mind bringing in another winger. I just don't know what the Canucks are going to be adding to the thing or subtracting, because we might need to bring in another winger because we trade out Besser.
Sure.
And that's a real possibility. But I guess it depends on how they play in the next 20 games.
Yeah. I mean, the only other thing I can think of is that, again, depending on who they trade, if they're trading one of the top two centers and they can't get back what they want to get back, which would be another good center, if they get a winger in that trade and then a draft pick, and then they flip the pick for a center to someone else, which is a bit of a cheating answer, but
yeah, that would be wild that the two actually, even if it was Edmonton, Toronto, that would be huge ratings too.
I don't know if I could watch that final.
Right? You would be like, I'm boycotting. Yeah. Yeah. So let's keep scrolling down here. Demko really loves Hughes too. Of course, everyone does. Absolutely. Elfrin's here and says Demko wants out because of the locker room thing. It's not about the money for Demko. Just my take. Maybe, or like he's not the number one guy right now. But I think Demko should be happy that Lankin is playing at such a great level so that he gets extra time to rest.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think for Demko this season anyway that the gameplay can be a really big concern, because I think he must know that he has to get back to being himself if he wants to start the majority of the games. I would imagine, but maybe I'm being too optimistic about that.
Yeah.
I mean, he's been Demko's been around for a long time, right? With this group.
Yeah.
I
like what Personalized says. We are forgetting about the Winnipeg Jets. They are fantastic this year. Small market, but passionate market.
It's true.
That would be really cool if they made it to the finals too. I love Dell says Leafs will make the final but lose to the Oilers. I don't know if the Leafs are going to make the finals. There's one thing I just don't do. I don't ever predict the Leafs to win the Stanley Cup. It's just a win. Vancouver and Toronto, just don't ever pick an. Oh, I'm joking. Who knows, right? Leaf fans are like Cowboys fans. Actually, that's a pretty good comparison for a lot of them. I know some really great Leaf fans, but I don't know. Okay, I heard that most hockey fans do not want the Leafs to win the cup. Is it because of the media will be talking about Leafs every single day nonstop? Yes.
Yeah.
1,000%. Okay. Let's see here. Green says, as per Cam Robinson, Demmer, Brock, Hughes, and PD are super tight off the ice, do a lot of stuff together as a group. Take that for what it's worth with all this talk and drama, because could mean nothing. You know what? I think that's an important piece. Demmer, Brock, and Hughes and Petey. Interesting. I've read things though that Miller and Brock are really tight. So interesting. Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't. We're getting into drama here, and it's like he said, she said, but I do appreciate Green you doing that. I'm a pretty big fan of Cam Robinson. I feel like he's really weighing in on the Canucks drama stuff lately. I prefer him to talk about draft stuff. I think he's one of the best in the business.
Sure.
But I understand he's super passionate about the Vancouver fan base. And yeah, I just been wondering if some of his takes are, I don't know how, I can't say they're not accurate. I'm just saying maybe I'm just too sensitive about it and I just can't handle it. But he's a great guy. So, hey, you getting the credit here? The nice jersey. Which players on this one?
It might be Pettersson.
Are you kidding?
No.
Did you know that I sold my Pettersson jersey? Do you know that?
Remember you saying that.
Yeah, and now I have a JT Miller jersey. So just saying. But I think it's totally fine that people have Pettersson jerseys. That's great. That's great. I think it would be way more fun to have a Pettersson number 25 jersey.
I've actually talked. I mean, when I saw that jersey on Saturday for his first game, I was like, oh man, I really want that jersey with the E because it's so funny because of how useless it is. Like that's a great jersey. So maybe we'll see.
And also, I still want a Zadorov jersey. I don't care. I just don't care. I just want one. Another one I was thinking about is a Sherwood. That's pretty cool, too.
The Sherwood one would be cool.
Mm-hmm. Okay, people still want to talk about the Leafs. There's a lot of conversation about the Leafs.
It's always about the Leafs.
Roberto says, you have to believe in blue. I do believe in this team. We need two pieces, another center as well as a top 4 D-man. The only thing is to get a top 4 D-man, you have to trade something significant out to get it, or you're getting a rental player at the end of the season, and then you're giving away prospects or draft picks. And so I'm not sure I'm really comfortable at this stage with moving those pieces. That's where I'm thinking if it's Besser, we're going to get a top 4 D-man. But what do you think would it cost to get a top 4 D-man in the league?
I mean, we saw basically with the Hronek trade, right? It's going to be at least a first rounder. And I'm not in for the Canucks trading for a rental D-man this season at all, because I think that they haven't proven that they deserve it. And also, like, if you consider, again, it depends with all these hypothetical trades, like the Besser trade is also going to be kind of tricky because he has a modified no trade.
Right.
So you're already dealing from a position of weakness there. I can't remember how many teams he can go to. And obviously teams will be interested.
I'll get it. Go.
Okay. But yeah, I know people are talking about trading Höglander at the beginning of the year to get a D-man, packaging that with something. Sure, it could work. But the other piece of all this is if next year Willander is ready to be a top 4 D-man for the Canucks, because that also solves problems and he's in-house. Yeah. But I don't know. I don't know where he's at really with his development. So let's see. But I'd be more willing to be patient. Whatever happens this year happens this year. We know it's probably not going to be a great year, but who knows? Maybe they go on a run now and they get into a top 3 place in the Pacific and it's all good.
Yeah. And then Besser has a 10-team no movement clause. Yeah. So that's a good chunk, but it's not like 15. It's not half the league.
Again, how willing he'd be to go to a team in a playoff spot if he was brought a deal.
Yeah.
I still prefer they keep Besser. Of all the players we've talked about.
Even if we lose him in the offseason?
I mean, I would prefer that we re-sign him, basically.
How much would you re-sign him for? Like, honestly.
Honestly, I think you can't go above 8.
Yeah. And what about what length of time?
It's a good question because the problem with Besser, again, is his speed. But if you're getting him to commit and you could get him to a little bit of a lower value, I could conceivably see them giving him, or be okay with them giving him 8 years if he takes a bit lower. And it's only because he's been such a good Canuck. Yeah. And I do think he really wants to be here. But I also get moving on, and I still think of all of this, and I know we'll probably agree on this because I've seen your tweets about it, but I totally agree with you. It's the easiest move for the Canucks to make right now, that they trade Besser and they say, okay, we've changed the locker room, we've gotten rid of a big core piece, and that's it until the offseason. But I would still prefer that they re-sign him.
I love Brock Besser. I don't know how you can't. He's everything you want in the locker room. He's a great teammate. He's got a great shot. We know he's slow, but he's actually tough to play against too. On the boards and stuff, he's a bigger body. People don't understand how big he is. I think in the playoffs too, he really showed his worth. I'm at the stage where I'm like, I just can't give up another 8-year deal because you're keeping this core together. I would do 4.
I get it.
I would do 4.
You do 4.
Yeah. So, and Japan 4 thinks that we're seeing the country club Canucks this year, which, I mean, that's a fair statement.
Yeah.
By the way, Japan 4, good to see you. I'm glad that you're here. It's great to see you here. Okay. Calvin says, I love the way Demko is looking. The same old Demko we all know and love, only let in 1 goal. And that's been rare this year. Yeah, absolutely. Oh, Personalized asked me today, if I was interested in getting Grubauer off of waivers, and I asked him the question, how much is he making per year? And he says, well, I never looked into it. And I'm like, well, you're asking me the question. I know you want me to look up the answer, Personalized. I don't want to look up the answer because I don't think we're bringing Grubauer this way. It would be interesting. I would like it. But then that means, what are you going to do with, I mean, there's no room in the end.
Trading a goalie then. I would prefer they keep the 2.
Yeah. Okay, let's see if we got any good questions. Anyone good questions? Roberto says, for a rental player, would you look at Ryan O'Reilly? Then up the middle, we'd have Miller, Petey, Riley, Bluger. Oh, that would be awesome. I love him. I just don't know what that would cost.
Yeah, and I mean, I think if that's what they're doing, then they have to move out one of those top 2 centers.
Yeah, and then if they did that, right, it wouldn't be so bad.
Sure.
How old is he? Like 100?
He's not. I think he's a year older than me. I think he might be 34.
58? No,
yeah,
just kidding.
58. But does he have another year?
I'm looking right now. I'm looking right now. So he is, where is it? He is 33.
Okay. So
he's got 3 more seasons.
Yeah.
So it's this year and 2 more.
Yeah.
4.5 million. That's a good deal for him.
It's a good deal. I mean, again, I would consider probably he's more of a third line center now than a top 2. I really like Ryan O'Reilly. He's always been one of my favorite players in the league. I like what he brings, his leadership. It could be a good addition for the Canucks locker room.
He's the number 2 center on Nashville.
Yeah, but how are they doing?
Oh, mic drop. Okay. I can't dream here. Okay. So, Blazer fan, love him. He's so great to have him in here. I'm just grateful Pettersson and Miller don't look like poop right now. Yeah, anyone looking like poop's bad. But anyways, and the BS that's going to die down. I think winning solves a lot of that, to be honest with you. But yeah, I'm grateful that we're winning. That's pretty amazing. And what do you think about congratulations to Linus Karlsson on his first NHL goal? That was a beautiful pass by
Myers.
Tyler Myers, the magician out there. That's pretty special, hey? That first goal?
It was great to see. I mean, again, when we traded Dahlin for Karlsson, I was one of the people that was a bit upset about it at the time because I thought that Dahlin had more upside. But it's cool to see that he's playing NHL games, and really good for him to get that first NHL goal. I know he's been producing in Abbotsford this year, but yeah, it's cool. Good for him.
Green is with you on this one. He couldn't watch Oilers Leafs final either. I love what Blazer fan says. Zadorov comes back to Vancouver if we keep winning. Call it here. I would love that. I would love that. Okay. what would you consider for Marcus Pettersson? I know there's this love affair of having three Petterssons on the same team. What is your thoughts about Marcus Pettersson?
I don't think the Canucks should do it. I think he's going to be too expensive for them this year. And again, I'm not into the rental defenseman thing for this team. I think Pittsburgh's going to get, maybe they don't get a first, but I think they're going to at least get a second or a top prospect for Marcus Pettersson at the deadline this year. And I would rather the Canucks just wait, see what happens. It can't be worse than the defense they've brought this year.
Right?
That's how I feel.
Yeah, 28 years old, left-handed shot defenseman, just over $4 million. He's got an 8-team no-trade list. I just want Ryan Graves so bad instead.
You want Graves, yeah.
Love that guy. Anyways, okay, what about this? Okay, so this deals with the Pettersson-Miller controversy. Buffalo said they're shopping Owen Power and Byram. Do it now for Petey. What do you think about that? What is your thoughts on these two defensemen?
I mean, if it's for Byram, I don't do it. If it's Power, you have my interest.
Really?
But again, you know, I think you know my thoughts on it.
No, but no one else does. That's what I want you here. They need to hear from you. I want them to hear your insights and thoughts on this.
I mean, if it was me, I would keep Pettersson. I think that you don't have you have a 26-year-old 100-point center who's gone somewhere. But he was there and he's done it in this league. And I just think with Quinn Hughes, he's 25. You have a window, you have an opportunity. I would work with this player and see what happens. And that's my thought. But Owen Power is interesting. It would get me listening. Byram, for me, doesn't do it.
So, but what about Byram and someone else? It's the rumor was Cousins.
The Byram and Cousins thing, I think, would be a disaster for the Canucks. I mean, Cousins makes $7 million. Byram is going to get a raise this summer. So if you're talking about cap, probably it's going to end up.
You said it's going up.
Yeah, sure, it is going up. But you're going to be dedicating probably about the same amount or more to Cousins and Byram than you are to Pettersson. And Cousins is a third-line center. I don't know. Like,
let me look. You keep talking. I'll look for you.
Anyway, I watched Dylan Cousins play a lot because he played his junior in Lethbridge when I was going to university there, and he was a good junior player. I think it's great, but for me, I also am not in love with taking players out of the Buffalo locker room if you want to talk about cultures that are used to losing.
So I had Jake on last night and from Doodle Hockey, and he loves Buffalo. Okay,
interesting.
So he said, I don't know if you watched, it was an hour and 40 minutes we went last night. We're not doing that tonight, by the way, because I don't want to. I'll fall asleep on you. It'll be awkward. I've literally fallen asleep during a stream once and started snoring. It's just saying. Okay, so not my brightest moment. Okay, he said he would do Cousins, Byram, and Pekara for Pettersson. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, Pekara is more interesting than the other two, to me. I have him in my fantasy hockey right now. He's getting me some good points. But no, I mean, for me, he's more interesting, but I don't know how much I want the other two.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah.
You know what? We might be able to sign Byram in the offseason.
Well, yeah, I mean, he's an RFA. Maybe they go the offer sheet way.
Oh, right. Yeah.
But
good point. I thought it was a UFA, but you're right. He's so young as an RFA. Okay. So I want Tage Thompson.
I mean,
everyone keeps saying to me, I'm dreaming. Like Pettersson for Tage Thompson, we lose that deal, right? Or did we win that deal?
It's straight up. No, I'm looking stuff up about Tage Thompson.
Okay. I know. I sprung this one on you. My apologies.
No, because I can't remember how old Thompson is.
I'll tell you right now.
he's older than we think because he took a long time to enter the league.
Okay. But is it like Kaprizov Barzal old?
I think he's the same age as Kaprizov, or is he
27 years old.
Yeah,
making 7.14. He has a 5-team no trade list that kicks in next year. He can get traded this year. Right-handed shot defenseman, my friend. Assistant captain. What do you think?
Tage Thompson is interesting. He's interesting for me, and also in some ways is similar to Pettersson in that he had a really good season a couple years ago and then hasn't been quite the same. Obviously he's making less money, but if it's a question between Thompson and that package with Cousins and Byram, I'm way more interested in Thompson than the other two.
Yeah,
but I don't know if
Byram, I would just do it. I would just pull the trigger. Like, honestly, it's just like, let's just do that. That'd be amazing. The only thing is, when I think of Tage Thompson, I think of Mario Lemieux with like less than 60% of the same skill set. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, his body type just reminds me of Mario, the way he plays a little bit. Every once in a while, I'm like, oh, is that Mario out there? Like, you know how many people have never watched Mario Lemieux live? Oh man, that was. I'm so old. Like me and Moses watched Mario Lemieux and Wayne Gretzky. So, okay, I know that I'm dreaming a little bit on that one, and a lot of people are like, I pride myself in realistic takes, but I think it's okay to dream a little bit too. What about signing Besser and bring up Willander and DPD?
Yeah, I mean, like DPD's up now, right? I'm happy to see him play. I would be happier. I mean, he was scratched tonight. Maybe it's okay. I'm happy if he gets back in the games. I would love to see Willander just to see where he's at. And I think if the Canucks season goes downhill, it would be interesting to see him up at the end of the season for a couple games just to see his development.
Yeah. There's lots of conversation for a Besser and what, like, I love how people are in here saying how many years and how much. Roberto says, what do you think about PD and Höglander to New York for Dobson and Barzal? I know the answer from New York is no. If any answer is with Barzal, they say no. They love him there. But I would do that deal in a heartbeat. I think every Canucks fan should say yes to this trade.
I think it's a dream. I don't think you're getting both those players.
No. Yeah, I think I'm with you here. Tage Thompson is forward.
It's kind of true, actually.
For reals? Like, don't you think Tage Thompson's better than that?
Well, I mean, again, I think that he has skills, and he had an excellent season. He had one excellent season, really. But I don't know I don't know what he actually is. And I don't think that they'll move him either. I agree.
A lot of people are saying that you're killing my dreams, people. You're killing my dreams. Hey, I watched Doug Gilmour too. Absolutely. Oh, here we go. We got French going on here.
Yeah.
Awesome. Do you know what that says right there?
They were multicultural.
Are you? Are you bilingual? That's what I want to know.
Me, I did French immersion in school, but now I can't speak any. So, I can understand what they're writing.
So tell me what they're saying.
Mario Lemieux was the best.
I knew that answer because he posted it later.
Okay, there you go.
I think I failed grade 8 French. And it's not because I just didn't care at that stage.
Sure,
I'm like, I'm never moving to Montreal or something stupid like that.
For sure.
You know, when you're in grade 8, you're 13 years old and you know everything, that thing?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So, Canucks owners should just back away and let Jim and Patrick do their jobs this time.
That's true too.
Ooh, that's fighting words, eh? Isn't that crazy? Oh, look at here we go. Here we go. It's the bilingual night. Okay. I like this. Oh yeah. PD, anything that says Bernard, I push accept. But that's not happening either.
Again.
Right? Hey, Trev, what do you think about JJ Pereira in a PD? I love that idea. If we're gonna trade with Buffalo, I would love him come back. I just don't know. I don't know what it looks like. So Okay, Calvin says, I still think Vancouver should look at a PD for Dobson and Holmstrom. We could make this deal. Simon is really good and upcoming prospect, or Miller for the same deal with a draft pick. I actually really love Noah Dobson. The other one that I like is that Danny Nelson off of the Islanders. He's the American player.
Yeah, the one in the World
And I do like Brock Nelson a lot too. It's just that there's too much money coming in.
Yeah. Again, I don't think the Islanders are going to trade Dobson. I also think if he comes to Vancouver, he's a bit redundant with Hughes. I mean, obviously, again, it's great to have puck-moving defensemen, but I don't know. Like, we have some of what he has.
That's bold. Yeah, that's true. I like that. I like that. But he's a right-handed shot defenseman,
Yes.
Noah Dobson, so that's nice. Also, bad news, he's on the LTIR. But maybe we should just stockpile LTIR guys and then bring them back for the playoffs. Anyways, sorry. Okay, so everyone wants to talk French now in the thing. The whole place is just dropping. We're imploding here. We'll do one last one. Dan says, if the Canucks make the playoffs without trading anyone, that would be incredible. What a redemption story. I agree
too. I mean, we saw last year this team is good. They can be good.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
What about this one? Miller and a first for Wyatt Johnson. Add Höglander too, and we can get Stankoven. Is that how you say?
Yeah, Stankoven. I mean, again, I think this one's a bit dreaming in a Miller trade, based on what has been offered for Miller. I mean, the leaked offer from New York. But if they were going to do that, I'd do that.
Hey?
Sorry?
The Rangers deal was so awful.
Yeah, it was terrible. But if
I'm sitting there going, I'm wondering what Keith and Laura are thinking here, because I'm like, if this goes, I would be so raging mad.
Yeah.
And I'm like, so that's why I sent it to you guys. Actually, you probably sent it to me first. You're so fast. It's like, how are you in another continent and like sending me information about our Canucks? You're the best. Just so you know. You and Keith are like masters.
We're obsessed. But yeah, I mean, if we can do that, I would do it. But
right,
I don't think it happens.
No, I think that is no. I don't even think they would do Miller first for Wyatt at all.
Yeah,
like that's just not there. But yeah. Anyways, okay. If we don't stop, we're gonna go an hour and 50 minutes. But I just want to thank you so much for being here, taking the time, especially with you being back on your vacay. And enjoying it. I just love talking hockey with you and Keith, and wish he was here tonight. Actually, he just got off his floor hockey there. I do have some hockey pool questions I need to ask you, but I think I'll ask you like either offline or through Messenger. So
for sure.
But appreciate you. Any final thoughts you want to give us before we call it a night?
I mean, nothing that hasn't been talked about. But yeah, thanks for having me.
You're welcome. Thanks for being here. Thanks, everyone, for being here. Hit the like and subscribe. And if you haven't yet, follow Hockey Talk on the Rock. Keith, this combo, these two really know the whole league. And I love their content. So we're going to get Keith on here, too. Maybe we can get a night. This is what I was thinking about. You and I and Keith talking Four Nations Cup.
Yeah, for sure.
I think that would be fun. I've got some rants I want to do, and I would love to hear your guys' opinion on it.
For sure.
But that would be something. Brian's always asking me to start these earlier at 9 p.m. Brian, I would love to. I also have a family. I like to hang out with them, and the games don't end until 9:40. So I try to do my post-game shows after that. So, but thank you for, if I do some videos earlier, but not many. Thanks so much, everyone, for being here. Have a great night. And of course, always, like we always do, we cheer this team on, whether win, lose. I mean, even if we're raging, Go Canucks, go.
Woo!